Okay, so today I'm going to make a rocket stove and show you how to do that. This is something I use outside. It's really handy. It's very easy to make. It's nice to have on hand. You can take it camping. You can use it outside. You could even use it on a balcony in an apartment building. You need a bucket, and we use stainless steel buckets. I wouldn't recommend aluminum or anything else. I got this at Home Depot. It's Barron brand, BEHREN. This was about $6 or $7. They do have a larger version, which I also have, and I'll show you that later. You need plaster of Paris. You need play sand, and the play sand I get is also from Home Depot, and it's the clean version. It doesn't have dust. It doesn't have dirt in it. You know how some of it's kind of that I don't know, like a tan color, and it's actually very dusty. This is completely opposite. It's just pure sand. So that helps to insulate it, and it doesn't crack apart as easy. Then you need some kind of a container. I have a small 1-gallon bucket that you're going to mix the plaster of Paris and play sand in with some water. You're going to need a trowel, a rasp, a drill with the hole saw on it. I think this is a 2-inch. And then tin snips. Here's a whole set of hole saws. If you don't have them, you can ask people at church. You could ask your neighbors, family members. You don't have to go out and buy a whole set because they can be pretty expensive. And you're only going to be using it the one time, or if you make a couple over the next couple of years, you know, you'll only use it a couple times. So see if someone has one. And then the last thing is inside the bucket, you're going to need to have something that is in the center, and it's a place setter. So when you pour in your mortar that you make with the plaster of Paris and the play sand, it's going to fill up a big hole in the center where the fire is going to be later. And so one thing you can get, I mean, we're in the middle of moving, so this works for me. This is self-stick plastic paper cushioning. Anything that's about this diameter will work. You can use any kind of metal pipe or plastic pipe that is at least 6 inches in diameter. You can use an old coffee can. You can use a big bean can. Anything that'll work. It can be plastic, it can be metal, it can be cardboard. I'm putting it inside of 2 plastic bags from Home Depot so that as the plaster of Paris and the sand mixture starts to harden, the paper won't get soft, and it will still hold its place. So, and then the only other thing we need is water, and we'll be right back to show you the next step. Okay, so we're ready to mix our mortar to put into our bucket, and we're going to use plaster of Paris and play sand, equal parts, so 1 pound of plaster of Paris and 1 pound of play sand, or 1 cup each, or I just have a little bowl. So as long as it's the same size, you're getting the same ratio. And then we add water until it reaches like a milkshake consistency, and then we're going to pour it fairly quick so it doesn't harden too fast before we can get it into the bucket. Okay, so here we are. We've got 2 bowls of sand and 2 bowls of plaster of Paris, and my son's mixing it up for me. And then once it's mixed up really well, so you don't have pockets of sand or pockets of plaster of Paris that will crack. Alright, doggies, out. Then we'll go ahead and add the water in and mix it up until a milkshake consistency. I think the cold air is making them all frisky. Okay, so here we go with the water. And you're looking for the consistency, not the amount of water. And it's always better to go slow and add too little and have to keep adding than add too much and then have to mix up more to make it the right consistency. It's like thick milkshake. It even looks kind of like an Oreo milkshake. Okay, so the first part is we fill up the bottom and we let it harden a little bit so when we put our place setter in, it has something to sit on. And it doesn't have to be perfectly smooth, but if you can get it pretty smooth, it helps. The bottom will end up getting covered with ashes over time. And you can also jiggle, just like you were going to float mortar or concrete. There we go. So now we'll let that set for a little bit and we'll be right back. Okay, so we put a base level in the bottom, and as you can see, it's firmed up. That took about half an hour or so. And the next part is we're going to take our place saver and we're going to put it in here like that. And then we're going to fill up all the way around with more of the mortar that we make. And then it's just going to sit and dry overnight. So right now we're going to mix up more mortar. And again, it's 1 to 1. So when we mix up the mortar to go around the sides, we do it in rounds, because if you try and mix up all of it, it's a lot to mix up all at once and it hardens fairly quick, so it gets thick. So we're probably going to do this 2 or 3, maybe 4 times to get the amount that we need. So here we go with the first round. So we have our place holder centered, and I'm pushing down on the top so it won't wiggle, and my son is going to start pouring the first round of mortar. And it doesn't matter if it's piled up on one side and then the next time it's the next side. As long as you can get it in there, that's all that really matters. Okay, so now we're up towards the top and we're finishing off, and we're just gently pushing down and squishing and trying to make a nice smooth surface on the top here. We kind of aim to have it a little bit above the level of the bucket because there's these little humpy things here, you know, where the handle goes. And if you try and put a pot on here, it's going to kind of tip sideways. It'll rock back and forth. I do put a grill across here, like a barbecue grill. I'll put that across. I'll show that later. But when we're making this, we try and make it just a tiny bit above so that the pots, anything that you sit on here, is actually above this little hump. So we're going to keep working on this until we get a little bit more in there, and then we'll show you the finished product. Okay, so we have it finished. It's nicely mounded up, so it's above the little lump over here, little bulge, and The handle was down here. I pulled it up. I've got it taped up so it won't come down, and I just kind of rolled my fingers around the edge to make sure it's still nice and smooth. And this is going to sit overnight so that it has plenty of time to dry. And tomorrow I will show you the very finished product and then how we drill the holes in the bottom so that the air can get through this whole thick area. All of this is insulation, so not only are you burning wood in here, but it's also retaining the heat, so you can sit something on there and it can slow cook with a very small fire. You can get a lot more wood in there or charcoal in there and get a really hot fire going. And the insulation, just because it's such a small stove, the insulation really helps keep the heat in and adds to the cooking process. Alright, so here's our marker where the first drilling is going to take place, and then we'll go off to the side so it's an oval. But we have the bottom is up to about here. And as you can see, there's a groove here. So when you're filling up the bottom, you can fill it up to the groove, and that way when you go to drill, you know where to drill. Alright, so my son just finished drilling 2 holes here, one here, and then he used an angle grinder and just cut across here to make it flat, and then he rasped out the inside just like he did the top. And so now we have our hole for the air to go in, to go up, to help everything burn, and then ash can come out. I'll also do several videos on cooking on these, but one of the nice things about the rocket stoves that have a big opening is you can stick wood in through here, branches, split pieces of firewood, and it burns, and then you just keep pushing it in as it burns, and you don't have to like lift the pot off or the frying pan off in order to add more fuel. You can also use charcoal in these as well, which works probably better than branches or firewood or any kind of brush, but you can use anything that'll burn in here. So this is the end of this video, but over the next week or so I'll start cooking with this, and we'll have a whole bunch of videos to show you. Thanks for watching. If you like, give me a thumbs up, and please hit the subscribe button. I'm just starting out, and it's a little challenging to get likes and subscribe people. And if you like my video, if you wanted to share it, I'd be really happy if you did. Thanks.